千里之行，始于足下。A journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath the feet. We now gather in the Tao to travel the journey together. Welcome to Tao Talks with Derek Lin, where we take a deep dive into the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. I would like to extend a warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us. I would like to invite you to center your thoughts and direct your attention to this moment in time, to the here and now, to be fully present and mindfully aware as we all ready ourselves for this sacred process in the Tao with one another. 道德经 29 is 自然章. Those are the Chinese characters at the bottom. Translation, the natural. This is the natural chapter. It is important because the Tao looks to nature as the natural guide to life. Let's take a look at these two characters. We can break it down into two parts. The first character is the character to the left. 自, it means self. The middle character, 然, means thus or so. So 自然, natural, can be seen literally as of itself so. It is so as of itself. It is naturally the way it is naturally so. Therefore, this chapter conveys the idea of alignment with the natural way of being. That is, everything will unfold by itself without interference. There's no contrivance, no hidden agenda. Things happen on their own. So nature is the principle. It is the true, constant, and eternal Tao. Oftentimes, the sages will tell you the Tao and nature are synonymous with each other. So for you and I to cultivate the Tao today, we study its principles and use the natural way to respond to all things. We have to realize that all things change in accordance to the Tao. Everything is bound by natural laws, including heaven and earth. So if we can do this, if we can hold on to it, practice it, it leads us naturally to the benefits of life. The virtue of heaven will reside within us, and that just means we can be free of excessive desires, excessive striving, preventing problems and loss, even before they occur. To practice this means advancing, improving, progressing on the path, acting with the natural flow, responding to people in that flow without resorting to clever schemes. So this is the chapter where Lao Tzu will tell us how to establish ourselves, how to handle life, how to follow nature. It is the only way to ensure the success that we attain will last. Here is Tao Te Ching 29, containing 15 lines. Those who wish to take the world and control it I see that they cannot succeed. The world is a sacred instrument. One cannot control it. The one who controls it will fail. The one who grasps it will lose. Because all things either lead or follow, either blow hot or cold, either have strength or weakness, either have ownership or take by force. Therefore, the sage eliminates extremes, eliminates excess, eliminates arrogance. Next, we're going to look for repeating patterns in the original characters to see how the text is divided into sections. Looking from the top down, the first thing I would like to draw your attention to is that line 1 contains 2 characters that are the same 2 characters at the beginning of line 3. Can you see them? Let me circle them. This is 天下, 2 characters, the first one being sky, the second one being below. So literally sky below, but really means all below the sky, or as our common expression, everything under the sun, or just the world. This follows the previous chapter where Lao Tzu talks about the 3 embodiments, the concepts, the metaphors that are all associated with 天下, the world. If you recall, it's to be the watercourse of the world, be the standard of the world, and be the valley of the world. In every case, the world in that chapter are the same 2 characters that you see here. And looking at line 1 and line 3, we can easily tell 天下, the 2 characters, even though they are the same, they are not in the same position. In the first one, in line 1, it's in the middle of the line, and in line 3, it's in the beginning. So this is not an indication of a poetic construction. For that, we have to look further down. If you scan through and see lines 5 and 6, can you tell that in 5 and 6, we've got repeating characters? The second character and fourth character, they are the same for both lines. Let me highlight them to make them easier to see. So they are indeed poetically matching lines. So the corresponding lines in English are also matching. Notice that this pattern does not continue below line 6. So we can be pretty sure that the first section, section 1, it just goes from line 1 to line 6. Like this. Below line 6, we can see a different pattern that also repeats. From line 8 down to line 11, you can see how the first and third characters are always the same. Can you see them? Let me highlight them. So these are also poetically matching lines. So the corresponding lines in English also show the matching pattern. This repetition does not continue below line 11, so we can be certain that section 2 goes from line 7 to line 11, like this. Below line 11, scanning through those lines, we can see yet another pattern that is also repeating. From line 13 down to line 15. Line 15 is the last line. So 13, 14, and 15. Notice how the first character is the same for all three. So again, let me highlight them to make them easier to see. And I think you can easily guess, looking at the English translation, that this character is translated as eliminate. We can now easily see this chapter is divided into three sections: the beginning, the middle, and the end. So this is setting us up for our line-by-line discussion. Line 1, those who wish to take the world and control it. So I want to go back to the 天下 character, the two characters that mean the world, but literally means sky or heaven, and then the character for below. This is a common expression. It is still widely used in modern Mandarin today. People use this all the time. And I thought it would be interesting to share a bit of history. Back in 1971, Bruce Lee was asked about his personal identity in a television interview. His response was, "You know what I want to think of myself? As a human being. Under the sky, under the heavens, there is but one family." So he's using that very specific expression, under the sky, below the sky, under the heavens. And then most people knew him as a movie star. Less people knew him as a student of the Tao. If you were to continue your study of the Tao, then you read quotes from Bruce Lee, you will have a lot of recognition. You will find it easy to recognize his source material, and you will say why it is none other than the Tao Te Ching. And I also like this quote because he's right. Regardless of where we come from, and despite surface level differences, we're all part of the one family. And that family is called humanity. So continuing on with line 1, those who wish to take the world and control it. This refers to people who are domineering and controlling. An attempt to control is diametrically opposite to mastery. A master will use guidance and understanding, not force or coercion. So in ancient times, at the kingdom level, this would refer to tyrants who were bent on conquest. And of course, you could also relate to a dictator bent on oppressing the people. And it could be both. A ruthless ruler who wished to conquer and oppress. We can also apply this not at the kingdom level in ancient times, but at the personal level in modern times. At the personal level, the tyrants of old map to the people that we know and see and observe, people who must have their way, the domineering and controlling type. And such people can also be described as neurotic, manipulating, interfering, and sometimes we say backseat driver, or we describe them as having control issues, or that they are fixated or obsessed. At the workplace, this can be the horrible boss, the micromanager. They want to control everything within the world of the office. So when we have this line, take the world and control it, certainly we know from history that the land at the time of Lao Tzu, the warring stage period, was split into neighboring kingdoms. And they battled one another so that the people had no peace. Today, this line can also be about the exploitation of nature. Back in the days of the warring stage period, Lao Tzu might not know about the massive environmental damage that we have witnessed in modern times in today's world. But the principle that he outlined applies equally well. Line 2, I see that they cannot succeed. So this is Lao Tzu speaking in the first person. Lao Tzu himself says that based on his observation, based on his knowledge, they cannot succeed. Now, he was the royal archivist. He had access to historical records that most people did not have. He could see within those records the chronicles, the rise and fall of empires, the power, the emergence and downfall of tyrants. So he could see that they never succeed. And whatever initial success such people have will end in failure. And the reason why they cannot succeed is because they go against the Tao. That which is contrary to the Tao cannot last. So throughout history, just like Lao Tzu observed, tyrants and dictators come and go. After the time of Lao Tzu, in the history that we have access to, we can see the same pattern persisting. And zooming in to just our lives and not to history, we also see manipulative people come and go. Perhaps the most common type is the micromanager at the workplace. There is a saying among HR professionals in human resources. They talk about how people do not leave bad jobs. Instead, they leave bad bosses. So one way or another, people put some distance between themselves and the source of a toxic influence. As a result, the people who are that way, the controlling type, they don't last long. It is very expensive for an organization to have a high turnover rate. And outside the work setting, people also don't want to be around the ones who are too controlling. So that is the people angle. And then we did talk about environmental impact, exploitation. This applies as well. We can see organizations that exploit the environment they also cannot succeed for long. What they do is not sustainable. So continuing with this line, moving into line 3, we are now talking about these two characters, 神器. Line 3 says, the world is a sacred instrument. So the two characters, the first one, 神, is divine, holy, or sacred. And the second character, 器, it is the tool, the instrument, or a vessel. So when we talk about 神器, there are two primary interpretations. The first one is 神器 means that which contains or extends the spiritual, 神, the mind or the Tao itself. The second interpretation is that which is sourced in the divine and therefore cannot be controlled, like the world itself. So in the first interpretation, it can refer to the human mind being intangible, being sacred, and should never be manipulated. It can be representing the divine Tao of nature, which manifests in human beings as their true nature. So that's the human-oriented interpretation. The second interpretation is not directly pointing to the mind of spirituality, but just describing something that should be sacred, should be cherished, because it is divine, that which is priceless, that which is the ultimate value, beyond all value. So, continuing with line 3, the world is a sacred instrument. If we talk about the mind of the people, then it is because people are the vessels of Sen, the mind, consciousness, and spirituality. And the Tao manifesting as all of the above, mind, consciousness, and spirituality within all the people. Then, the other interpretation, the world in which we live is divine by its very nature. And like the other teachings of the Tao, when we talk about the world, it's going to manifest at many different levels. So we'll talk about this as a quick preview, and then we're going to have to jump to the summary for today as we're getting close to the top of the hour. When we speak to the mind of all the people, when we say it is something that one cannot control, this is a direct reference to mean that the mind of all the people can only be influenced through the Tao and not controlled like objects. When we talk about the context of the world in which we live being divine, when we say we cannot control the world, well, human beings are finite. The Tao is infinite. Therefore, when limited humans try to control the unlimited, it simply cannot work. So, this is a quick preview of the most important points about the world being divine. We're going to spend a lot of time on it in the next talk. For now, we need to jump to the summary for today. So I have the Tao in all of us and the world. starting with those who wish to exert control, the domineering, the people who are controlling. They cannot succeed because they set themselves against the natural order represented by the Tao. And when we talk about the world being sacred, and this is what I mean by us focusing on this issue next time, so that this would be just a quick preview of it. At every level of existence, the world is a manifestation of the Tao. Those who try to use force, the domineering ones, will always end up defeated. Those who try to possess the world will always lose it. And this is why the sages learn from nature. They refrain from domination. They know true harmony can only come from alignment, not attempts to control. So that is the summary for the first part of it. We did not have quite enough time to do the complete first part. We will pick it up again next time. Share the Tao. For easy access to Tao resources, visit my website, dereklin.com. There, you can click on links and see everything listed, such as Taoism.net, information about the Tao and this meeting, our Facebook community, a place to discuss the Tao with fellow seekers, our YouTube channel, recordings of all our previous meetings, my Amazon author page, books and audiobooks for further exploration. You can go directly to this page at dereklin.com/links. When you see the benefits of the Tao in your life, share your experience through comments on Facebook and share these resources with friends who may also benefit. If you find my books or audiobooks to be helpful, please post your reviews on Amazon to guide others to the Tao. If you have connections to prisoners interested in the Tao, please contact me through Derek Lin Books on Facebook, and I will send my books to them free of charge. This is the path that I am on, so I can say sharing the Tao has transformed my life in incredible ways. I would like to invite you to come along. Let us travel together on the path in the journey of life. Our meeting has come to an end, but the journey continues on. Until next time, may the Tao fill you with peace and happiness.